Hey everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. For 37 years, the Terrebonne Churches United Food Bank has been in our area helping people that are food insecure and helping out in a lot of different ways that a lot of people don't even realize what's going on. So we're going to spend the next couple of segments finding out a little more with Lawrence DeHart, the executive director of the Terrebonne Churches United Food Banks. 37 years. That's hard to imagine that it's been around this long. And you've been at the head for the last 7 years.
I've been the exec the last 7, but I spent time before that as a volunteer and as board president.
Yeah. So let's just, for those that aren't familiar, this is the food bank, and it touches a lot more people. And we've been through, almost every guest that comes out here, we go, all right, 2 years of COVID, then we had Ida, and then we're all been recovering. And you guys, unfortunately, bore the brunt of a lot of people with food insecurities during those last 3 years. Hadn't exactly gone away. We're recovering, but slowly recovering. So the food bank is still a vital part for a lot of people's everyday life here.
Right. We were one of the few food banks that didn't close during COVID. And then, of course, with the storm, and we work with the EOC and a lot of other public agencies and charitable agencies. But one of the things that we were looking forward to this year was the numbers just falling back a little bit, figuring, okay, Ida's been passed, but the economy really hasn't helped. And where some of the biggest effect that it's hit is seniors who are on fixed incomes. And
inflation, right?
Yeah. How many people out there can afford $5 gallons of milk or a loaf of bread that costs $4 if you're on a fixed income? And then one of the things that a lot of people don't see that we work with 5 different agencies. Notice you don't see the tent cities here. And part of the reason is we work with those agencies to not just provide food for them, but to help get them off the street. Because when you see tent cities like you see in New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Shreveport, that hurts not only the economy, but it hurts business and the general morale.
Safety.
Absolutely.
Where would those people go to get food? We've seen that, and obviously some of that is now on a different level. But sometimes people have no choice but to try and go to a store and maybe, feed their family or whatever. But you guys have stepped in, so it has made the community safer in that regard.
Right. And one of the things that you talked about, safer, I talk often to people and said, well, you're just there to help the downtrodden. And I look at them and I go, you don't realize we actually affect the lives of every person in Terrebonne and Lafourche. And they'll look at me and go, well, how? And it's like, okay, if the food bank were not there, and I'm giving you the latest numbers, we just calculated them this morning, for the year ending in 2023, we will have served some 32,108 people. So if 32,108 people suddenly were out looking for food, what do you think that they would do if the food bank weren't there to help them? They would resort to other means, correct? So we affect the safety of everybody here. And that's why Tim Saunier and even in Lafourche, Craig Weber are some of our biggest supporters. And because they realize the effect that we have on the general crime in this area. So we actually have an impact on that. Also, we work with other government agencies such as Terrebonne General, and we have a very unique program in there in as such that when they have somebody who is subject to food insecurity or malnutrition, what most people don't realize is that at a hospital, whether you have private insurance or Medicare, Medicaid, if you return within 6 months, they're going to charge back the hospital 2 to 3 times what they paid for your care. Well, most people don't realize Terrebonne General is a public hospital. Right. So when they get these $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 chargebacks, that comes out of your pocket in your taxes. So our program, and we got money from the Red Cross, and it has just been in effect for a little more than 6 months. We're getting ready to have some meetings with Teresita, and but the numbers look phenomenal. They couldn't be more excited. As a matter of fact, we're actually talking to the Red Cross on the national basis of making it a permanent program. So it's had a tremendous impact. It saved you tax dollars. We affect the safety. And yet some of the things that it affects is kids. And we'll get more into that a little later. But most people look at those people at the food bank, oh, that's just adults who need help. They realize that in this case, this year it's 6,400 kids are affected by what we do every day. So, again, it's not just adults who are going hungry. It's kids they may get a meal at school. What happens when you got nothing to eat at home?
Oh yeah, and that is an incredible part of growing, learning. Make sure you're nourished enough that your brain, functions on nutrition, right, and supplements and all that kind of stuff. So, real important. When somebody says that, you said 32,000 meals served this year,
Well,
or
no,
people
32,000 people.
people were served.
We
this
count
year.
people. Some organizations count meals served. That's hard to put meal.
You
We
have
look at
tons,
faces.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
We
We look at
1.6 tons, 1.6
million pounds,
pounds
yes.
of not tons,
Yeah.
pounds. But yeah, so you're talking about people that you served this year, and I think a lot of people would be surprised by that.
Oh, yes. And just one of the things, we are a direct indicator to what goes on in the parish. Gordy and us have worked over the years, and we'll sit there with Mike Toops, and Mike Toops will come into the office, and the numbers that I'm quoting there, and he will be in our meeting on Friday. We're going to go over the numbers. We can show you almost direct and live each and every month where the numbers we're serving has a direct effect on the parish. Because what most people don't realize, they've already had a hiring freeze. Sales tax revenue is already down. But the problem is some of those numbers are 3 and 4 months in the making. They can look at some of the reports that we generate on the people we're serving and better react much more quickly.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. We got a couple more segments to go with Lawrence DeHart. We'll be right back here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Hey everybody, welcome back into By Time. Harry McCullough here. We're spending some time with Lawrence DeHart, of course, is the executive director of Terrebonne Church's United Food Bank. And again, look, when Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy, and he had a shout out to his Ohio food bank, and a lot of people had no idea that it was that needed in a community like Athens, Ohio. I think a lot of people in Terrebonne Parish just didn't think what you guys do was as needed as it was. But when you talk about 32,000 people that were served over the year, that's a big part of this parish. And when you talk about elderly, when you talk about inflation, the way inflation has really hit the last couple of years, if you're on a fixed income, you can't buy a lot of food. And in the same ways, when you're talking about layered families where you have grandparents taking care of kids may go to school, they'll get free lunch at school, but then there's nothing to eat at home. These are also places where you guys come in, right?
Right. Unfortunately, right now, and also to reiterate the numbers, every child in Terrebonne Parish schools, from what I understand, is on free or reduced lunch. And that's never happened in this parish before. So that means that the average income in this parish is so low that the federal government says, we're going to pay for everybody's lunches. And that should be a warning flag. And most people, we have lines that go around the food bank. We still do a drive-by system. And we're very fortunate that parish officials work with us and are very tolerant, because we're on 922 Sunset, but we also, the back part of our facility goes on Crescent, and that line will run from Barrow Street all the way down Crescent and then snake around. It's not uncommon for us to serve anywhere from 80 to 90 families on any given Wednesday or Saturday. And to try to address this, when you're struggling food on the table, spending time to drive to the middle part of the parish, in some cases 30 or 40 minutes. So that's why between Terrebonne and Lafourche, we have 11 pantries, meaning that we distribute food in 11 different parts of the parish. We have 3 more pantries we're going to open in the first quarter of this year. where people don't have to drive halfway across. It's the same drive-by system. Whatever you're going to get in the main campus, you're going to get in all the drive-bys. But when we do this, we look at not just giving you food. We don't give junk. The idea is to give balance. Recently, we had an intern spend time with us, and we work with Terrebonne General and other healthcare and nutrition specialists, and we pay very close attention to what we give. You are going to get fresh vegetables. One of our organizations is the St. Francis Garden, and they grow vegetables for us. So you will get fresh vegetables from us. You are going to get meat. We're very big into proteins. We're not real big into sugar. Yeah, you got a snack bag
some
that's got the
carbs,
whole
right.
hose in it. And I get that. They beat me up over that. Meaning, please, can we do more? But it's a situation where we don't give junk, and we're looking to give substantive meals with protein, not just, hey, what's on the shelf? What can we throw at people?
Yeah. Now, talking to Spud before too. Now, you guys work with a lot of to bring in your food and nutrition. Y'all work to get good prices from people so you can do those things.
Yeah, our main food provider is an organization. They're an international organization. I suggest that you go online and you look them up. They're called Convoy of Hope. Convoy of Hope is mostly an emergency response organization. They go to all types of disasters to provide food assistance. We're one of just a handful of food banks that they provide, and they provided support. Every year they've given us over 1 million pounds of food at no cost. The only thing it costs me is the shipping, which can range anywhere from $1,800 to $2,500, depending, sometimes $3,000, on where it comes from. And we've grown to the point where we can do what's called factory direct. Like, for example, we just got a bunch of meat from Oscar Mayer, and that picked up in Indiana. And so if you like bologna, we're getting ready to give out a whole bunch of bologna, but it's good meat. It's good stuff. And so we give out chickens, but they provide us. Do we have to buy food? Yes, not because it's an ego thing to how much weight can we give you, and it's not a competition, but we want to give out nourishing food. So when we have holes, like we will buy pasta and rice sometimes. We buy that from Falcon. Last year, 3 years ago, we spent $300,000. Now I'm in the 200. We cut it down by 100,000 because we've gotten smarter and dealing directly with factories such as Falcon, Blue Runner, and I'm trying to think of the pasta company. We also trade for Domino Sugars. That's another thing.
Right.
And we get very inventive, and that's Spud's idea. We actually trade these CHEP pallets, these blue CHEP pallets, which are rental pallets. We get them, and we don't know what to do with them, and we actually trade them to Domino Sugar for sugar. We've gotten 26 pallets of sugar for 90 CHEP pallets, and it's like, oh yeah. But every dollar you give us, we can get $2.10 in food right now, even in today's economy.
Yeah, it's amazing, which is a big business, right? And we talked a little bit about that. It turns into a big business that the way you have to organize everything.
Yeah, we have mostly part-time. I only have 4 full-timers. But yeah, in my time, we've gone from 2.5 to we have 15 staff members, because when you're handling 1.5 million pounds of food, you need forklift operators and you need truck drivers, and you got all this. So we've needed some professional staff. Accounting is a big deal. Most people think that we're some mom and pop organization. At one time we were, but now we have an accountant that is part of the staff. We have a controller. We have CPA, Purnell, Martin. We have 3 layers that watch every dime that comes in and out. And we even have to file tax returns. So we're just like any other business. I just can't pass the exceeding costs off to clients. I got to eat it.
Exactly. All right, we got one segment to go with Lawrence DeHart. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
All everybody. Welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. We're spending some time with Lawrence D. Horton, of course, the executive director of Terrebonne Churches Food Bank, Churches United Food Bank, I should say.
We say TCU just to make it easy.
There you go. I'm going to rebrand it here. How can people help out? And, you know, obviously a lot of people would like to help, but this time of year, they could really help if they knew they could. Like one way would be like satsumas and stuff, right?
Right. This year, because of the drought, oranges and satsumas, which is one of the favorite things we like to hand out. We've generally had a lot of people going, hey, I've got, my trees are overloaded this year, and they bring them to us. While our insurance company will not let us go and pick. If you happen to pick them and put them in, we can go to your house and pick them up, and we'll hand it out. If you have stuff that's left over in your garden that you don't know quite what to do with it, we'll be more than happy to pick it up. But you know what? If money is tight, and we get this, and that's why we're in business, but come and volunteer. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock to 4 at 922 Sunset Street, and Saturdays from 8 to 4. Come and volunteer. Come help out, because if you come and see the people who are helping and the beautiful hearts and the beautiful faces and the joy at what they're getting. We're giving out hot dog buns right now. And I know that may not seem like a lot to somebody who can afford bread, but the coolest thing happened a couple of weeks ago when we started handing this out was this lady took it and she goes, "What's in the box?" And I said, "Hot dog buns." She goes, "Bread?" And I go, "Yeah." And now this is in a small car. She was an elderly lady. She reached back and she opened that box and saw the 4 packs of hot dog buns. She hugged that bun. And it's like, "Are you okay?" Actually, one of the volunteers asked her, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I haven't had bread in 3 months." And it's things like that will forever touch your life. And that's not one story. Those stories happen all the time. Most of my staff were volunteers before, and it's not like they make a great living at it, but they do so because they see the difference that it makes. This is your parish. We're your food bank. We're yours. We're the local guys, okay? We've been here for 37 years. We're not some outsider who just decided, oh, this would be a good place to come and put a food bank. We have been here fighting the fight every day. And if you don't take care of us, who will?
Right. A great opportunity, though. Like I say, how many people in their backyard have a satsuma tree, and they go, "Oh well, I guess the squirrels will get it this year, right?" Because they don't want to. That'd be a great opportunity to help out a lot of folks. So, tell me about the shrimpers, which are, we've talked a little bit about school children, elderly with inflation, but the shrimpers in particular around here have really taken their costs have gone through the roof like everybody else's. But when they get to the dock, they're not making the money that they have traditionally.
Yeah. I have some friends, and I grew up, my family shrimpers trawlers way back, so I understand the industry. Danny Babin and Dirk Guidry gave me a call and gave me some numbers. And he says, "What can we do to help?" And so we came in, we had a meeting, and through their efforts, what we did is we contacted the dock workers. And where we normally have a light screening process, it's to determine who really needs help. So since we're a food bank, but we have a food pantry also that is with us, we're able to hand out food directly. So we give vouchers, and I like our vouchers. We do a lot of things with the vouchers, like Head Start and as such. But anyway, with the food vouchers, we gave them to the dock owners, and the dock owners to their workers, and we communicate with them on a regular basis. They give us the names of who they're handing them out to and kind of give us a little synopsis, but they give these vouchers to the workers and to the deckhands and to the captains who aren't making it. Because the very first time that I went out there, we went to the dock all the way in at the end of Cocodrie, and we watched a boat bring in 30,000 pounds of shrimp. And they were out there for 10 days. And the shrimp are still at such a low price that 30,000 pounds, which should have been a really good haul, a really good payday, those 2 deckhands made $600 for working 10 days. And the boat owner said, "Yeah, I covered my fuel. That's just about it. If I'd have broke down, I wouldn't have had the money to fix my boat." And this is going on more than people know. And that's why us being the local food bank, we're able to respond to local needs. We're not tied into the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, or any governmental agency that restricts or limits that says you only can give out food how we say you do, or you're only limited to these zip codes, and I'm sure you've seen the thing where you have to be from this zip code or from this area, from this parish. We serve people, and that's why I only count people, because if you're in need, we're here to help. And so that's what we do here.
Yeah, 11 different pantries, 12 different churches that are working together in the beginning, right? They
Yes,
all
we
came
actually have
together.
more than
So
that, yeah, now.
pantries around. You work through Nichols, you work through Fletcher.
Yeah, and that's what's being nice enough here is we're an independent, but we are flexible enough that we notice being, doesn't look like it now, but I used to be a hungry college student. And it's only Stan Palm,
Right,
Stan Grabwall, whatever, that still looks like he's a hungry college student. But anyway, and I've known him from eighth grade. Anyway, it's a situation where they have pantries, lockers on there, and we provide assistance for those at Fletcher and those at Nichols, and they have some very innovative programs. And nobody wants to pay a lot for an education, and yet you can't study, you can't think. That's why we work with several other school programs too.
All right. So people that want to help can come by on Sunset and help out. And
922 Sunset every day from
or they can
8 to
look
4.
online.
Absolutely. Go to tcufoodbank.org. That's T as in Terrence, C as in Charlie, U as in uniform, tcufoodbank.org. It has screens, and you can also look on HTV. We have two different commercials, and Martin has been incredibly kind to us. Every time I picked up the phone and said, Martin, can you help us? He's never told me no, and he's found a way to help us. And so I thank him for allowing us to be on
Very
tonight.
generous too. Well, thank you, Lawrence. You are too, man. Appreciate your service to the community. All right. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.